only if we you know we take action. Yeah, so some of the things I would like us to note, these are just questions you have to ask yourself before applying for scholarship or seeking for studies abroad, study opportunities abroad. So the first question is, do I really need a scholarship in or outside Nigeria?
Sorry, Austin, there is a request that your voice is really low. Can you increase your voice a little bit, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm coming. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, okay, I think it's from my laptop. Okay. Okay. Is it okay now?
Yes.
Power off.
It's better now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so as I was saying, so for the first slide, I was saying something about information, and I was trying to say that when you...
Can you increase your microphone, or probably if you're using the microphone on your system,
okay,
or if you can talk a little bit louder, it's possible.
Okay, please just give me a moment, please.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Sorry.
Okay.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay.
But it's making a lot of noise. You can reduce it a little bit.
What about now?
Okay, it's good now. Very good.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I think it was the my speaker, something. But so if I'm low, please just tell me.
Your voice is going back low again now.
Okay, sorry, I'm so sorry about this. Okay.
It's okay.
I just have to do something, please. A moment, please. I've switched to my tab.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm sorry, please. I don't know what's wrong.
Recording in progress.
TY, please, can you make me host now?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think your voice is clearer now.
Yeah. So I just switched to the tab. I don't know why this happened. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, please. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry about this.
No problem. Yeah.
Okay, just quickly, I was talking about information. So I said information is not power, but so what turns information into power is action. So when you hear or see something, you hear about that information somewhere online or through a post or something, and you don't do anything with it, then the information doesn't count. So it makes so there is no difference between someone who doesn't know about this information. So this is just a motivation to let us understand that, okay, when you take action, then information becomes power. So these some of the things to note. These are just questions to ask yourself before applying for studies abroad or scholarship. So first, do I really need a scholarship in or outside Nigeria? Second, am I ready? So are you ready to face, the challenges ahead, academic challenges, health challenges? So, so any challenge that has to do with, your studies. And another point is, are you ready to learn, unlearn, relearn, some things, so it's a different environment, different system, different, so everything is different. So are you ready to, to learn new things, or drop some things and, something like that. And the last point is health challenges. So, the weather might not be friendly, especially the cold in the winter. It's very cold. So, these are the things you just need to clarify. So if all these things are good, then you are good to go. Additionally, there are other important things also to know, and these are just things that is expected of you. You don't have to be an expert, but at least a basic knowledge of these things would be good. So first is at least you have to learn how to code. At least you have to be conversant with, at least one programming language. For those in engineering, maths, science-oriented courses, it would be very nice you know how to use one of these frameworks, Python, R, MATLAB, or the other programming languages like Fortran, depends on what you want. And second, you have to learn how to write technical report, paper. You have to learn how to, to give summaries of, of reports or something. Third, plagiarism is a big offense, and it could lead to expulsion. Yeah, this is really a big offense. So these are the things we don't really pay attention to, at least as far as I can tell. Maybe things have changed, but I don't know about now. But for some of us that like to just copy and paste from the internet, you just have to drop that a bit because it can put you in trouble. Last, we have, if possible, well, not compulsory, at least one publication might be okay. Yeah, this might not be decisive to get a scholarship. It might not be the most decisive things to have to have a scholarship or to get this study offer. But if you have one, it's okay. Yeah, another thing to consider, especially for countries in Europe where you have to, you might be forced to learn their language if you really want to, integrate better into their society. And also culture too, it goes hand in hand. And yeah, you have to also find out if the country is a welfare state or not. That is, if the country is quite, friendly when it comes to your personal welfare, family-wise, personal-wise. And also we look at the cost of living. Yeah, you have to be sure if where you're going to is not too expensive, so you won't be stranded. Yeah, they are really expensive cities. So the question is, do I really want to stay in a city that is so expensive when I don't earn too much? So you have to think about that too. And the fourth thing is also the future opportunities. So if you're going somewhere, you have to also, you have to research about opportunities. So, for example, after studies, what next? I want to get a job, or so these are the things you just have to look out for. So if you go to a place where there are job prospects, then it's good. Otherwise, you might be forced to leave the country because there are no opportunities. So these four things I feel would be very, there are factors to really consider when choosing a country to study. Now I move to how do you search for scholarship? Number one, Google is your friend. So this is the first thing I always try to do. So I just go to Google and you can type, use keywords. You can get lots of links on scholarship opportunities. And yeah, you check also university website. So you can also, what I also do is I go to Google, I can just type universities in USA, universities in Canada, universities in, any country. Then usually Google brings up the Wikipedia page, usually the first. So this Wikipedia page would have list of all universities in that country. And it's always nice you check through these universities one after the other. You get more information. Then also you can think about sending emails to prospective supervisors. For some of us that want to go into research directly from our bachelor's, maybe master's by research or PhD directly, you might have to send emails to supervisors. And how did you get these supervisors? So it's very simple. Also, you can try to Google professors in the country or university where you wish to study, and most of these professors have profile, personal websites where you can get their contact information. So typically it makes sense to always emails instead of calling their phone numbers. I think it's academically okay to send emails to them. And the fourth one is we just also try to use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also a cool place to also, there are lots of opportunities there too. You can see lots of shared offers. A professor can just put on his LinkedIn profile, I think he or she is looking for students in particular field, master's, PhD opportunities, or job. So it's also nice. Polish your LinkedIn and package yourself. Yeah. So a colleague one of the mentors, I think by next week, one of the mentors would also elaborate more on packaging yourself too. So let's just stay tuned to that. And additional information is for some of us that don't have scholarship opportunities, sadly, unfortunately, not everyone would study through scholarship. So that's just the reality. However, there are other opportunities for some of us that don't get the chance to get scholarship offered. There are countries who also offer free education. However, you just have to have a certain amount of money that you can show at the embassy that you can sustain yourself. For example, Norway, we have about 126,357. It's the Norwegian currency, but in in dollars, that's about $14,000. You might have to convert that to Naira to know exactly the amount, but these things are subject to change most times because of the exchange rate. So to be sure, Germany in particular, it's about 10,332 euros. Also, you just have to show that you can sustain yourself. In Germany, we don't pay tuition, so it's just a semester due. In Canada, we have about 10,000 Canadian dollars too. But I mean, you can be very sure about this amount if you go to the university website in the section of international students, some of the visa, for the visa application section. So you get more information about these things. And yeah, there are also most schools in US, Canada, they also offer opportunities called GA positions, where which comes with a monthly stipend. So this is also a great, it's also a great way to study. But I think some of these things require additional requirements. For example, IELTS, TOEFL, or GRE. Well, I heard that some universities no longer use those things. So just find out to be sure. Now I just go straight to some of the. So we have this degree-based scholarship. So these scholarships just aims at a degree, bachelor's, master's, or PhD. And so these are just compiled list of some of the local-based scholarships we have. I mean, by scholarship institutions in Nigeria. There are more than this, but I don't think I can write all. But these are just some. We have NNPC, total undergraduate scholarship. We have KPMG, NNPC. We have the bilateral education agreement. These are just bilateral agreements between two countries where you spend most times maybe 1 year in another country, then you come back to your home country to complete your program. This is just like Erasmus exchange program, but something like this. So you have to travel, you have to do your programs in two or more countries. And also we have this federal government scholarship for undergraduate, masters, and PhD. We have PTDF, this Petroleum Development Fund. We have MTN Foundation Scholarship. We have Oando, Chevron, MWAG. We have Nigerian, also most oil producers, there are also oil producing, oil companies like Shell. So you have these NLNG postgraduate scholarships. So and many more. There are websites where we can get all of this. If you can also check Google, you can find some of these local-based scholarships. Well, we also have foreign scholarships, also degree-based, like the Commonwealth. This is particularly for those who want to study in UK. We have also Commonwealth Distance Learning Scholarship for developing countries, sorry. So supposed to be countries. Then we have the Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth Scholarship. And yeah, also the American Fulbright. This one is also for in the United States. And this just targets Nigerians. But you just have to find out the period of application. So to be sure, these things are subject to change. They change on yearly basis. Then we also have the Japanese government scholarship for undergraduates, research, masters, and also for Nigerian students. Then we have the DAD. DAD is a German government scholarship also for African students. So if you go to the DAD website, daad.de, you see lots of opportunities for African students, Nigerian students. You can just filter out what applies to you. Then we have this Polish scholarship too. Also, it comes out on a yearly basis. Yeah, it's also a very nice scholarship. It's from the government of Poland. Then we have also scholarship from Singapore. Also, we have the Chinese scholarship. We have the DAD scholarship, like I mentioned. So the difference between this DAD and this other one is the DAD in country regions, they are just targets. So they are specific to universities in Germany. So these universities, they have positions, and they are scholars. So they already have this DAD funding attached to this program. So all you just have to do is to apply to the program at the same time the scholarship. So it's just like they go hand in hand. So you apply for both simultaneously, and you might be lucky to get one. But this other DAD, so you are the one to choose the university of your choice. So it's more or less like you're just applying for a grant. And yeah, if you get the grant, then most times to get the grant, you must have gotten an offer from the university of your choice. So you can check that out also on the DAD website. So the website is there. Then we have the Global Ambassadors Program for Young Leaders in Nigeria. We have the DAD. Yeah, this is another part of this. So the DAD has lots of scholarship. So I think, so I can't really count, but it's a lot. So if you go to the DAD website, you're going to find many scholarship programs under the DAD. As a matter of fact, the DAD also partner with PTDF, this Petroleum Development Fund, also. So, even PTDF also on their website, you find these bilateral programs too. Well, so we have two scenarios. When the PTDF gives you scholarship, it is automatic partnership with the DAD, or it's just strictly only for PTDF. But if you are coming to Germany, I think the rule says that any scholarship you are going to be studying in Germany with, it has to be partnered with the DAD so as to meet the DAD standard. Okay, and yeah, we also have quite some too. We have the DRD scholarship for sub-Saharan Africans. We also have this Conrad Adenauer Stipend Award scholarships. We have the MasterCard. We have the Erasmus Mundus scholarships. We have the University of Dundee, PTDF. Also, PTDF is also in partnership with this University of Dundee. A lot of schools in UK too. You find a scholarship that target Nigerian students. Then we have this Denmark scholarship government scholarships for non-EU students. So the deadline is also subject to change. We also have the Amsterdam Excellence Scholarship. So there are really a lot. See, I can't really mention all, but these are just some of the scholarships that we can discuss. But there are more uncountable. I mean, so there are still even more. We have the ICTP, this Center for Theoretical Physics in Italy. We have the Perimeter Institute Master's Program. We have the Pan-African Scholarship also, where you can choose universities in Kenya, also in Nigeria, I think Cameroon too. We also have the AIMS, African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. They have 6 centers in Africa, South Africa, Cameroon. We have Ghana, Tanzania, Rwanda, yeah. And this is just particularly for math, STEM courses. So you can also try that, because most of us here, we also graduate of African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, Mathematical Science, AIMS. So Dr. Tayo is also an alumni, Femi is an alumni, I'm an alumni, and Adiola also is an alumni, 4 of us. So it really means that this African Institute for Mathematical Science, is so I see it as something that sets you, it puts you above, and it's a kind of opportunity opener. So it raises something like your standard, and puts you, you can contend with anybody. So we also have non-degree based scholarships. These are internships, summer schools. So you can also find out there are lots of summer schools we can also try to attend.
A lot of us don't know that going to the university is not just about going to classes, writing exams. We don't. For me, I got to understand that during your undergraduate program or anything, you have to network, and most networks are done through this summer schools conference. There are also conferences you can apply. There are scholarships also. They fund your travel, your feeding for the period of the conference, 2 weeks, 5 days, 3 days, in or outside of Nigeria. So try to look for opportunities too, so that you can travel and meet professors. Most people get offers by meeting professors and conferences, and they discuss, they exchange contacts, and you might be lucky. So please, let's take these things also serious. Not only masters, PhD. So the scholarship must not necessarily target degrees. You can also go for these things too. It's an eye opener. And so we have quite some. We have Google internship. We have World Bank. We have. So the slides will be sent to you guys, and you can have a look. On these things. And also to mention, there are also online platforms where we can also acquire a lot of knowledge. Coursera is very big platform. I use this a lot too. I have about 5 or 6 certifications from Coursera. And sometimes some scholarships, they require additional requirement. They require additional documents like work experience or something. So if you don't have all this work experience, these things can suffice. For me, this was what I used. I never had work experience, but I think this also went a long way. So we have Leap Africa, we have iVarsity, we have the DPHI online bootcamp, where you can go and, there's even this free online bootcamp. You can get lots of online certifications, and you can add them to your CV. It shows how motivated you are. For Coursera, it's not free, but you can apply for tuition, for financial aid. They can waive the tuition for you for the course, and you complete the course, they give you the certificate. And if you want to know how to apply for financial aid, maybe we can talk about that in the next thing too. So it's also important. Dr. Tayo can talk about that because he's very experienced in things like this. So I'm sure he might also want to put us through how we can do these things. But it's not difficult. It's just to tell them why you want to do the course and other things. So the scholarship requirements. So these are the scholarship requirements I feel we need to have. Good grade is an added advantage, not it's just an added advantage anyway. So if you have good grade, it's an added advantage. If you don't have good grade, so it's relative. So how you define good grade is relative. But also be sure to always check what the scholarship requirements or any study offer. So what their requirements is, you have to check if you meet the grade. If they mention second class upper, then be sure that that is what they want. If they mention maybe 50% above, then you know where you are. If they mention 75%, so you should do the math and be sure that you are just you have the requirement. Then usually there are also application forms online. Most of the times these things are online. You have to fill these forms by answering some questions. Questionnaires, they will ask you, why do you want to do this? Maybe motivation or something like that. It differs, depends on the application. So so we have the passport or your national ID. So usually some scholarships also require that you have an international passport. over the years, it's been discovered that a lot of people get scholarship, but they have problems when it comes to traveling because of this passport problem. So it's always nice you have your passport. I know Turkey, this Turkish scholarship, they usually ask for this passport. I don't know about some, but I'm sure about this Turkish scholarship. So they ask for international passport. So probably they want to select those who already have passports, so they don't have to, stress themselves. So something like that. So also you need your education documents, your certificates from secondary school, university, then also transcript. It might be notarized, or may not. So it depends on what the scholarship wants. Or if you want to you notarize your document. And also you need to write a convincing statement of purpose, which is just equivalent to motivation letter. So you have to state explicitly, you have to introduce yourself, talk about your past work, or coursework, anyone, your research, maybe your bachelor's thesis or any mini project you have done. It might be related to your bachelor's degree. It might not even be related. As far as it's you feel it's going to make you stand out, then you can include it. Then it's nice to talk about your future plans, and these future plans can be what are your plans after if you're opportune to get this scholarship. So what are your plans? So for example, you can say, okay, I plan to create more awareness on this course, or I plan to come back to my own country to just to give back as a way of giving back. I want to do this. I'm thinking of a startup, and I feel that, okay, doing this course would give me the necessary skills, and so on and so forth. So also letter of recommendation. This is also very important from your previous lecturers and employers. So if you have someone who can write something nice, please, you can reach out to them in time. It's very important. Don't reach out to people, don't reach out to your referees a day or 2 days or 1 week, 2 weeks to the deadline. In fact, the moment you cite a scholarship and you have plans to apply, even though it's 1 month, even though the deadline is 1 month from now, inform your referees now, because they are usually busy. You don't know how their schedule is. So informing them few days, few weeks might be dangerous. And, most of the times, these letters of recommendations, can really, make you lose a scholarship. Talking from experience. So there's also the standardized test scores, which it's not compulsory, but it's always nice. But it's cool also if you have this language proficiency, English language proficiency letter from the university. So I remember, in fact, all the scholarship I got, I used this English language proficiency letter I got from LAUTECH. So you can go to the GNS department, so the English department, you can tell those, you go to the secretary and you tell them that you need this English proficiency letter. So the letter just states that you carried out your undergraduate program in English, you did courses, that is required, for studies. And, they are going to mention that, the university should give you all the support. So this is very, very cool. If you don't have money to write this TOEFL, IELTS, then you can go for this. I use this and it works. So it still works because, of course, you just want to know that I did my studies in English. Then last is research proposal or study plan. For this research proposal is mostly applicable to people who want to do research, like master's research or PhD. So you might have to write a proposal, the research proposal. So you can find out. So the research proposal will just highlight the problem you would have to introduce the problem you want to address, how you plan to address it, and the expectations. So what you are expecting, so your approach, your results. So, and yeah, these are just the prerequisites for scholarship application. And the additional requirements, so there are some scholarship might ask you to write essays, and this would come in form of the application form where you fill online. And like I mentioned in previous slides about all these online courses or something, you can add that as professional certification, or academic certifications, anyone. This also can be additional documents. And also, if one way or the other, you have awards, scholarships, grants, you have been a beneficiary of any of these things, you can also include it in your CV, or if there are documents to show that, that you have once received an award, scholarship, or grants. You add it. Don't be scared to add what you have or what you have achieved. Then there are also cases where you might have to add your portfolios. For some of us, we have portfolios. Maybe we have done 1 or 2 projects and, it's online, or it's just somewhere you have a prototype, maybe on GitHub or a website. You can add it to your CV to just put it as a section, portfolios. And, people might go there to check it and they find it interesting. You never can tell. It could single you out. And also, if you're not, there are also scholarship offers that are not 100%, maybe 50% or 75%. So you might have to show financial statements. I think it's typical of most times when you just have a tuition waiver and maybe nothing more or something. So you need additional financial obligation. And also you might be asked for medical certificates. I know of Hungary. I once applied to Hungary's government scholarship, and they asked for medical certificates. Also, I remember in New Zealand, also I once applied there and I got the scholarship, but you must do medical certificates, Now, what are some of the pitfalls? So these pitfalls are some of the things, you have to avoid when you're applying for a scholarship. So don't wing it. So this just comes in form of not preparing. So you're not just prepared. You see a scholarship offer and you just jump into it, So when you see an offer, a scholarship offer or something, you have to take your time. You have to prepare very well. You have to read and understand. So don't rush it. Don't just apply to anything you see and, you just jump around it immediately. So you have to take your time. You have to prepare. So don't be too quick to just do anything. So, it's really important because, by taking your time, you understand better what is expected of you. And now don't let others do the work. So, it's you who want to apply for scholarship, not someone. So you don't just say, okay, please help me apply for this scholarship or something like that. So you have to do it yourself. So you have to go through the process yourself, from writing your motivation letter to, everything, just do it yourself. If you don't know everything, you can reach out to people, people whom you feel, have been through this process. They can give you their support also. Maybe you have 1 or 2 documents or your motivation letter, you're not sure. People can proofread it for you, but don't give it to someone to write for you. Otherwise, you won't. It's going to affect you a lot. Don't reuse essays. So many of us go online and we just pick any essay we see and we just use it. So there are sophisticated plagiarism tools that they can use to detect. If you just copy and paste 4 words, 4 is too much. Maybe 3 simultaneous. So if there are 3 words or 4 keywords, the plagiarism tool will just detect that this has been extracted from somewhere. And that's a big problem. Most people lose scholarship because of this plagiarism. Forget about your grades, forget about the document. If you reuse essays and the scholarship committees find out that these things is plagiarized, that's automatic disqualification. So it doesn't make sense after the whole thing, you just get disqualified. So write it uniquely. So just write it how you feel it should. So there are platforms where you can read about what motivation essays or motivation letter, whatever, should entail. Introduction, just like I mentioned in previous slides. So talk about your past work. It could be coursework or just a job. It could be some of the projects you have done, what you plan to do, what the skills, programming skills, what you have done, how you did it, the result you got. Was that the motivation, to apply for this scholarship? So these things like that, it's not difficult. Just write it yourself. Don't copy and paste, or don't reuse people's essay, rather. Then don't submit before checking the details. Many of us are just quick to submit, and later we'll start checking the details. It's of no use. When you submit, that's the end. So it's better you check the details before submit, before submitting. So don't submit before checking details. Check details properly before submitting. And this, don't spend money to make money. Well, a lot of people might argue this, but yeah, it's usually the case that a lot of scholarships would ask you to pay application fee. Fine, if you have it, fine. There are still lots of scholarship opportunities that you don't have to pay. So be very careful. Well, if you say don't spend money to make money, a scholarship opportunity is not even an avenue to make money. So most scholarships are just there to, to cater for your welfare. I mean, nothing more. It might not be more than that. So what this just means is, you don't have to spend too much when you're looking for scholarship. So that is just what, so that's the argument here. So be very careful. If you would pay application fee, then also be very careful. If you have the money, fine. If you don't, then you can look out for those that you don't have to pay. There are also scholarship scams. If you don't know, you have to know. They know people are so eager. I mean, people are so quick to jump on scholarships. So you have to be very sure that you are not just dashing people money. We have cases of scholarship scams where application fee, it comes in form of that application fee. I'm aware of that. So please note that. You don't have to wait until the last minute. So when you find something today, you don't have to wait till the last seconds and then you'll be applying under pressure. So you have to take your time, prepare your documents and apply as at least some days before the deadline or even weeks, depends on how fast you are. You don't have to wait till the last minute. Then don't underestimate the power of recommendation. Well, you might have the best result, but don't underestimate the power of recommendation. So recommendation goes a long way. So don't joke with this part. If without recommendation, I doubt if you might get the chance to get a scholarship. So so that is why it's very important to to inform your referees in time and be very sure the referees you are asking for a recommendation. So be sure that this person is someone I have relationship with, or maybe I did very well in his or her course, and he or she can write something nice about my academic things. Just be very sure about these things before going ahead. Yeah, so you have to send. So after you have all these documents, so before submitting or before uploading your CV, motivation letter, and other documents. So it's always nice you send it to 2 or more people for review. So these 2 or more people they could even be they can be your colleague, or they can be, maybe people who are also who have gone through this process too. And you can just ask them, please help me check. So if there are comments, mistakes, typos, grammatical errors. So, I mean, it's very important. So don't just be too quick to submit. maybe the format of the CV is not okay. The person can say, okay, please do it this way. It's more appropriate. So you just have to learn from. Yes, and last, you use social media wisely. So there are lots of social media platforms to like LinkedIn, where you get a lot of opportunities, websites. There are also scholarship websites. There are websites. Some of these, they from time to time, daily, weekly, they give updates on scholarships. So you have to just use this social media wisely. So social media is a very powerful tool that has helped a lot of people. So no one would knock at your door and say, okay, please, there's this scholarship, apply. So everything you would have to do is via social media. So to be nice, to use it wisely, just as it says, you have to use it wisely. Yes, I think that's all I can say for now with regards to this presentation. I thank everyone for listening, and I'm open to questions too.
Thank you very much, Austin, for that wonderful talk. So I'm still expecting your questions. Please do well to send your questions to me. And Austin, are you ready to take some of the questions that we have?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's go with the first one. So the first question is, how competitive are these scholarships? And do I have to pay to apply for this scholarship?
Okay. Well, everything is competitive. Yes, so when you see a scholarship offer, you're not the only one applying. In fact, there are thousands of people or more that are applying. So everything boils down to, how you present yourself. They don't know you, the selection committees don't know you personally. They can only know you from the documents you present. So, and that is why, the only way to break through is to ensure that your documents are well organized and presented. You meet all the requirements they want. Your motivation letter must be very powerful. As a matter of fact, there is a way you write your motivation letter that they don't just have a choice than to give you the scholarship, because motivation letter tells how motivated you are. So it has to be very, very powerful. On how competitive it is, there is no way to calculate or to estimate that. Regardless, you just have to prepare your application and, just have to apply. You can even be the one that is even, you can even be the most competitive person in an application. So everything depends on how well you present yourself. Then you don't have to pay. Well, there are schools, I don't know, maybe Diola or Tayo would know more about that. I know most schools in US, in Canada, some you have to pay application fee, something. Yes, I know that. I don't know, but from my own side, so far, I've always avoided, any scholarship that requires me to pay. So I just run away from it. Well, it might be that, yeah, you can pay and also get, but you don't have to pay anyway. So yes.
I'll just add to it. Okay, so how competitive are the scholarship? Now, my response to that would be, obviously, aside or on top of what Austin has said, I would say that you don't have to worry about how competitive any scholarship can be or will be or is. That's not for you to worry about. You know why? Because everybody is chasing their dreams. Everybody wants a shot at that opportunity to get money to support their dreams. So you can be sure that even if it's what is 1,000, even if they're only giving you $1,000 or $3,000, in as much as it's free money, you can be sure that a lot of people are going to be running to get, gunning to get that opportunity. So anything called scholarship is competitive in itself. Now, what do you need to do? You need to make sure that you put your best foot forward. You need to polish your application. You need to polish your CV. You need to polish your statement of purpose. And much more importantly, you know, generally, everybody will have good things to say about themselves. So if you meet me for the first time, and if I want to tell you something about myself, 99% of the case, I'm going to be telling you glowing things about myself. So even though people though people might like how you present yourself, they're also watching out for something, what people have to say about you. And that's where the power of recommendation comes in. All things being equal, if you have what it takes, grade-wise, experience-wise, so experience can be professional experience or research experience, community service-wise, or maybe volunteering. So if you have what it takes, professional experience, research experience, or maybe volunteering, and if you have powerful recommendations from people of repute, then I think you have a shot. So don't worry about how competitive that application can be. Think about how to get yourself to the very forefront of everybody. And for the second question, do you have to play for scholarships? Just exactly like Austin said, any scholarship body that is asking you to pay money, even if it's $10, don't really take them serious, right? Don't really take them serious. Now, we need to get this straight. Applying to school is different from applying for scholarships. If you want to apply to grad schools, of course, most schools will ask you for application fees. So yes, you can pay money, when you're applying for grad schools, but when you are applying for scholarships and they're asking you to pay some form of fee, maybe you need to check that body again. In my experience as well, just as Austin said, I wouldn't take a body seriously if you're asking me to give you money